You work hard. You spend hours dedicating yourself to your job, facing traffic, meetings, and tight deadlines. At the end of the month, when your salary hits your account, you feel that sense of relief. But it doesn't last long. Soon the bills come: rent, groceries, electricity, internet, that credit card installment. And before you know it, the money has practically disappeared. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of people live exactly like this, feeling that no matter how hard they try, they can never get ahead financially. The most frustrating part is seeing that even though you work so hard, your bank balance doesn't reflect your efforts. But what if I told you that getting rich isn't about how much you make, but about how you manage what you make? Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in the world, wasn't born rich. He didn't win the lottery or inherit a fortune. On the contrary, he built his wealth from scratch by applying simple principles that are accessible to anyone. And the best part? Even if your salary is modest, you can apply these same principles to change your financial life. Now, if you're thinking, "This doesn't work for me, my situation is different, I have too many expenses," I invite you to keep watching. In the next few minutes, you'll discover that the difference between those who build wealth and those who are always in the red isn't about how much money comes in, but about the financial habits we adopt. And the first of these habits can completely change the way you view your finances. Ready? Let's dive into the first principle of Robert Kiyosaki. If I asked you what the biggest financial problem people face today is, you might think, "My salary is too low," or "I don't earn enough to save." But the truth is that for most people, the problem isn't the salary, it's the lifestyle. Robert Kiyosaki, author of the bestseller Rich Dad, Poor Dad, teaches that there are two types of people: those who work to appear rich and those who work to actually become rich. The problem is that many people care more about the appearance of wealth than about building it. That's why, as soon as they get a raise, they rush to finance a new car, or when they have some extra money, they spend it on things that only impress others, like brand-name clothes, expensive phones, and fancy dinners. But do you know what the problem with that is? That money is going away without generating any return. Warren Buffett, even though he's a billionaire, has lived in the same house since 1958. That's because he understands something that few people grasp. Wealth is not measured by what you spend, but by what you build. Kiyosaki reinforces this concept by saying that the middle class often falls into the rat race trap. The more money they make, the more they spend. And so, even with a good salary, they remain trapped in debt, financing, and financial insecurity. The solution? Live below your means. That means spending less than you earn and resisting the temptation to increase your standard of living just because your salary went up. But don't confuse this with living miserably or never allowing yourself to enjoy money. The difference is that those who live below their means make smart choices. Instead of buying a new car every year, they keep a reliable vehicle for longer. Instead of financing unnecessary purchases, they invest that money to make it grow. Instead of spending to appear rich, they focus on building assets that bring financial freedom. If you want to break the cycle of just working to pay bills, you need to change your mindset. As Kiyosaki teaches, the rich buy assets, the poor buy liabilities, and the middle class buys liabilities, thinking they are assets. The question is, are you spending your money on things that make you richer or poorer? In the next principle, we'll talk about one of the most important habits that differentiate the financially successful from those who are always struggling: how to handle money as soon as it hits your account. Imagine two people who earn exactly the same salary. The first uses the money to change cars every 2 years, buy brand-name clothes, dine at expensive restaurants, and flaunt a luxurious lifestyle. The second lives a simpler life, drives a used car, avoids unnecessary purchases, and invests part of what they earn. Now fast forward 10 years. Who do you think is better off financially? Robert Kiyosaki explains that most people work for money, while the rich make money work for them. The difference lies in how they handle every penny that enters their account. The illusion of status leads many to spend everything they earn to look successful. This becomes a dangerous cycle, where the person needs to keep working non-stop to maintain a lifestyle that, in reality, provides no security at all. Warren Buffett, one of the world's greatest investors, never fell into this trap. He still drives a simple car, avoids unnecessary spending, and lives according to his own principles, not the expectations of others. For him, money should be a tool to build freedom, not a means to impress people. The secret to building wealth isn't in how much you earn, but in what you do with what you earn. Small decisions make a huge difference over the years. Here are some changes that can transform your finances. Keep an old phone longer instead of upgrading to a more expensive model. Avoid impulsive purchases and unnecessary installments. Choose experiences and learning instead of spending on goods that lose value quickly. Create the habit of investing, even if it's with a small amount of money at first. Kiyosaki teaches that instead of spending it all in the present, we should direct part of our money to build assets, investments that generate income in the future. It could be your own business, stock investments, rental properties, or any other way to generate money without having to work more. True financial success doesn't come from how much you show off, but from how much you quietly accumulate. In the next principle, we will talk about one of the most important habits that the rich adopt early on: saving before spending. Most people handle money the opposite way. They pay bills first, then spend on leisure. And if there's anything left, they try to save. The problem is that there is almost never anything left. Robert Kiyosaki teaches a fundamental principle for financial independence. Pay yourself first. This means that before spending on anything else, you set aside part of your money for investments and savings. This habit ensures that your money is working for you before it's consumed by everyday expenses. The most common trap is thinking that one day there will be a higher income to start saving. But those who spend everything they earn today will continue doing so even if they double their salary. The secret isn't in the amount, but in the habit. Imagine two people who earn the same salary. The first person leaves saving for the end of the month and always finds a reason to spend everything. The second person sets aside a portion of the money as soon as they receive it, treating this savings as an obligation. Over time, the first person continues living paycheck to paycheck without financial security. The second person accumulates solid wealth, capable of providing freedom and opportunities. It doesn't matter the amount. What matters is to start. Even 5% of what you earn, invested regularly, can make a huge difference over the years. In the next section, we will see how financial discipline can transform any salary into a path to wealth. Financial freedom doesn't happen by chance. It is the direct result of discipline with money. While many work their whole lives and still face difficulties at the end of the month, others manage to accumulate wealth even when starting with a modest salary. What sets them apart? Financial habits. Robert Kiyosaki explains that those who spend everything they earn become slaves to their own work. If they lose their income, they lose everything. But those who develop financial discipline can build a secure future where money works for them. Here are two examples. Pedro earns a good salary, but spends everything. He buys a new financed car, dines out frequently, and installments almost every purchase. Every time he gets a raise, he increases his spending too. If he loses his job, he has no savings to support himself. Lucas earns the same salary, but has financial discipline. He lives on less than he earns, invests a part of his money every month and avoids unnecessary debt. Over time, his investments grow, and he starts earning money without needing to work more. The difference between the two isn't luck, but how they handle money. Financial discipline doesn't mean giving up everything, but making smart choices to ensure a better future. If you start applying these principles today, you can transform your financial reality over the years. Wealth doesn't come from a single big win, but from the sum of small, well-made decisions throughout life. Now that we understand the importance of discipline, let's talk about how to turn money into assets that generate passive income. Now that we understand the importance of financial discipline, it's time to talk about one of the biggest secrets to building wealth: turning the money you earn into assets that work for you. This is an essential concept that separates people with stable financial lives from those who live in the cycle of work, spend, pay bills, and start over. Most people see their salary as something to be spent on immediate needs and temporary luxuries, but people with financial discipline know that to create lasting wealth, it's necessary to invest in the future. This means that money should be directed toward assets that can generate returns instead of being consumed immediately. But what exactly are assets? An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket, such as rental properties, buying. A property to rent out can generate a monthly passive income, investments in stocks or funds. Over time, these investments can generate dividends, meaning you receive a portion of the profits from the companies you invested in. Own business or innovative ideas. If you have an idea for a product or service, you can build a business that generates profit over time. Intellectual property. Creating something valuable like books, courses, or music can generate royalties, meaning ongoing income from something you created in the past. To build wealth, it's essential to buy assets instead of focusing on expenses that depreciate quickly, like new cars, brand-name clothes, and expensive gadgets. These things may bring momentary satisfaction, but they don't increase your wealth in the long run. The good news is that you can start with little. You don't need to be a millionaire to invest. The important thing is to start, even if it's with small amounts. The secret is consistency. Over time, investments accumulate and grow. Imagine investing 100 reais per month. If you keep this discipline, after 10, 20, or 30 years, this money could turn into a significant amount. But more than that, you'll need to understand that true wealth comes from the power of compound interest. This means that the money you invest doesn't just grow on the initial amount, but also on the accumulated earnings themselves. Compound interest is known as the miracle of investments, because over time it can generate exponential returns. The key to this transformation lies in investing every month and making money work for you, not the other way around. Starting today is the first step, and when you commit to building assets and investing with discipline, the future that once seemed distant and unreachable begins to become a reality that's closer every day. Now that you understand how financial discipline can build a solid future, in the next section, we will explore how this mindset can free you from financial worries and provide true freedom. When we talk about financial freedom, we're not just referring to having enough money to live comfortably. We're talking about reaching a point where you no longer need to work to pay your bills, and where your finances become something you control, not the other way around. And this is possible for anyone, as long as they adopt healthy financial habits early on. Financial freedom is what happens when the money you've invested and the assets you've built begin to generate passive income that covers your expenses. Instead of relying on a salary to survive, you live off the profits of your investments. This means that if one day you decide not to work anymore, your assets will continue to generate money for you. Robert Kiyosaki always says that true financial freedom comes from making money work for you. And this is only possible when you invest with discipline, avoid excessive consumption, and focus on building assets. In the beginning, it may seem difficult. It feels like money is never enough and that you're always sacrificing something. But over time, you start to realize that this discipline creates a powerful cumulative effect. Imagine a person who starts investing a small portion of their income every month. In the beginning, the returns may seem modest, but as the years pass and compound interest takes effect, these investments begin to multiply. After 10, 15, or 20 years, the person may have accumulated a large amount of money that generates regular income. This income can be used to cover their expenses and even make their dreams come true. When you reach this point of freedom, the constant worry about money diminishes. You can live with more peace of mind, knowing you have a financial safety net without having to make drastic sacrifices or worry about the future. And most importantly, you have the freedom to make decisions without the pressure of needing to work just to pay the bills. What Kiyosaki teaches us is that true wealth comes from making the conscious choice to invest in the future. Even if you start with little, the simple act of investing regularly and prioritizing assets over time can create a flow of money that sustains your life without the need for constant effort. This freedom doesn't mean living extravagantly, but rather living with more control, without being dependent on a fixed salary or a work routine that consumes your energy and time. The journey to financial freedom starts with a simple yet crucial first step: deciding that you want to change your relationship with money and adopt a new mindset. And believe me, you don't need to start with a large amount or have a high salary. What matters is starting and doing so consistently and strategically. The first step to building your asset base is understanding that you need to create a solid financial structure, starting with planning and choosing where to put your money. Robert Kiyosaki suggests that you divide your investments into different asset categories that, together, will build a strong wealth base over time. Here are some tips to get started. Educate yourself about investments. Before putting your money anywhere, it's essential to learn about the investment options available. This doesn't mean you need to become an expert, but rather understand the basics: stocks, real estate, investment funds, and whatever fits your profile and financial goals. There are many free resources, books, and even online courses that can help you understand better how money can be invested wisely. Start with what you have. Many people get paralyzed thinking they need large amounts of money to start investing. But the truth is that even small amounts, when invested regularly, can have a huge impact in the long run. If you start with $100, $200, or even less, the important thing is to develop the habit of investing. Consistency is more important than the initial amount. Prioritize savings and debt elimination. Before investing, it's crucial to ensure that you don't have high-interest debts. Credit card debt or installment purchases with high interest rates can drain your finances and hinder the growth of your wealth. So the first step is to focus on paying off high-cost debts. Once your debts are under control, start setting aside a portion of your income for investments, even if it's small. Automate your investments. One way to ensure you won't forget to invest is to automate your contributions. This can be done by setting up automatic transfers to savings or investment accounts as soon as you receive your salary. By doing this, you ensure that paying yourself first becomes a priority and avoid spending that money before investing. Diversify your investments. Don't put all your money in a single type of asset. Diversification is key to reducing risks and increasing the potential return. This means having a portfolio that includes different types of investments: stocks, real estate, government bonds, and even education, which is, without a doubt, a very important asset. Take advantage of compound interest. The greatest power of investments comes from compound interest. This happens when your earnings, interest or dividends, are reinvested, causing you to earn interest on your interest. Even if you start small, if you're consistent, your money will grow exponentially over the years. The magic of compound interest takes time, but with patience, you'll start to see the significant impact of your financial choices. Be patient and persistent. Don't expect quick results. Building wealth takes time and requires patience. When you start investing, it may take a few years to see big returns, but as your assets multiply, the fruits of your work and financial discipline will begin to show. The secret is to be persistent and not get discouraged by initial difficulties. Finally, the key to building a solid asset base and achieving financial freedom is to create consistent financial habits. Small investments made regularly and disciplined can lead to great results over time. The important thing is to start now with what you have and continue to learn and improve your relationship with money. So, what do you think of these tips to start your journey towards financial freedom? As we've seen, the key isn't having a big salary, but adopting smart financial habits, investing in a disciplined way, and being patient throughout the process. Over time, these small actions can lead to big changes in your financial life. If you haven't started yet, now is the perfect time to take the first step. Remember, the most important thing is to start and be consistent. And as always, keep learning and adjusting your strategy as you go. If you liked this content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. This way, you'll follow all the tips and strategies to transform your financial life. See you in the next video.